my experience of making the student visa application, and yes, it was a journey, it was a process, and the process was laborious because of the gathering of the documentation. Unless and until all the documents that was provided on the checklist was complete, my student visa application was not ready to apply. So the gathering of the documentation of the process was probably the most laborious part. After the application was applied on Immigration New Zealand's website, it was quite clear because every stage that the application goes through is tracked and we get an update on it. And thankfully, my student visa got approved. I didn't have to go through any phone interview, video interview. My student visa application was quite strong. The cover letter that I wrote was in a human, readable, understandable format. I knew from the beginning that there was someone on the other side of my application who was actually sitting down with my application, reading the whole application. So I read it in a format so that it appeals to that audience. Those are some of the things that I would recommend that you take away from my journey, from my experience, and apply it. And always, always, always seek professional help. Navigating student visa application. Let me just quickly declare this that I'm not a licensed immigration advisor or an immigration lawyer. That means that I cannot give you personalized advice on your student visa application. But I do have an immigration team who would be happy to answer any of your questions. There's a difference between working with an immigration advisor and a lawyer. An immigration advisor is someone who can handle straightforward cases. So it's if your case is quite straightforward, then an immigration advisor can handle. And an immigration lawyer is someone who would handle complex cases. Both these advisors and lawyers have the ability to make an appeal just in case if your student visa gets declined due to bona fide reasons, an example, then they can make an appeal, and they have an escalation policies and people that they know within the Immigration New Zealand's team that they can talk to get this reviewed. Always work with someone who can handle such scenarios. So if you're working with an immigration advisor or lawyer, find out what is the student visa application in and how do they do the processes, how do they communicate, how do they upload the information, and how do they communicate with you to get further information. What is the support, what is the process here? Always try to understand that. And the second question that you always need to ask is, if for some reason your student visa application gets declined, then what do they do? Do they go through an appeal process? Is there a separate process? What kind of support do you need from them? Now, and once you do a student visa application, now all of this information is available on Immigration New Zealand's website. And I'll give you a little bit of context of why I know a little bit more than you. It's because my student visa application was done by my agent in India, but after that, all the visas I applied by myself. So this includes my post-study work visa, essential skill work visa, residence visa, permanent residence, and 3 visitor visa for my family. I did all of this by myself. And actually, you can do it as well if you want to take the risk. But initially, I would recommend that you work with someone who is a professional and an expert in this industry. All of the information is available on Immigration New Zealand's website. They're constantly updating it. A pattern that I have noticed is that people get very disappointed in Immigration New Zealand. And the reason why they feel like this is because if they have made an application, they feel like it is Immigration New Zealand's responsibility to grant the visa. It doesn't work like this. After you make a student visa application, just like a job application, it goes through a process. It gets assigned to an immigration officer. A human being is sitting with your application, assessing it and making sure that you meet the criteria. There's no machine, no AI, no automation that does it for you. So it's a human being who has assessed your case physically. The applications have come through and they've gone through the process, the motions, and then they have made the decision that they have made. So that is one thing. Next thing is, just like a job application, either it can be rejected or it can be accepted. So just because you've paid the money to Immigration New Zealand doesn't mean that they have to grant you the visa. You need to remember that Immigration New Zealand has been appointed in New Zealand to think about New Zealand's success and how the skill shortage can help New Zealand succeed, whatever the success for that financial year or for that election period is designed. You are just fitting into the puzzle to New Zealand's success. That is how you need to look at it. You need to find out what is the right thing for you, what is the best outcome for you, because Immigration New Zealand's job is to find out what is best for them, for the country in terms of immigration. So this is something that you need to be clear of when you're making the student visa application. Goes without saying that if you have received any past declines, character issues, or any some complexities, then make sure that you're truthful, upfront, and honest about it. And what your professional will do is they will help you craft the story around it and make the best application. But if you have hidden this for some reason, whatever reason it could be, if you've hidden this key information and later Immigration New Zealand finds out, and that could be a cause of your student visa decline, then there's not much the professional can do. So whoever you have appointed to work with, make sure that you are truthful, accurate, and honest from the start about your application, so that whatever gaps are in your application, the professional can help identify, clarify, and highlight to immigration officer who's going to be assessing your case.